Welcome to Mind Over Matter, where we feature young Jamaicans who are shooting for the stars. I'm your host, Margaret Boyne. My guest is only 22 years old. She's a youth advocate, a law student. She's the Mona Law Society president, a radio co-host, a radio producer, a debater, a recipient of the Governor General's Achievement Award in 2020. And if that wasn't enough, the JCDC Miss Kingston St. Andrew Festival Queen for 2021. My guest is Tamoy Campbell. Welcome to Mind Over Matter, Tamoy.
Thank you so much for having me, and welcome to all of the viewers and everyone who'll be watching this.
Yes, I'm not sure where to start because I just read a list of your achievement, which seemed as if there was no end in sight. And I have to wonder if you have a 24-hour work day like everyone else does. Where do you find the time to do so many things?
Oh, wow. I get asked that question a lot. I think much of it pans down to prioritizing what I have to do and trying to be as organized as best as I can. So I do use a lot of calendar reminders and a schedule as best as I possibly can. And I try to just tell some of my friends, or my family members what I have to do so they can keep me accountable. But honestly, Miss Boyne, you and I are struggling to answer that question because I still don't even know. I really don't.
You seem to have a passion for service and advocacy. Where did this passion comes from?
All right. So much of it started at home. Being very outspoken and just very articulate. People often say, yeah, man, she's going to be lawyer or she's going to be politician, and they kind of just talk things into you. And I think that was one of the things. In addition to just always reading very widely, I am a nerd. I love to read, whether it be from things from Nelson Mandela or Martin Luther King Jr., some of my icons. I always read about what they have done and how they use their voice or their ability to champion a cause and to effect change. And then as I got a little bit older, I really felt intrinsically motivated that I have God-given talent and potential that perhaps I should use to help other people, to make the difference, and to change situations that are dismal into solutions and positive impact for others. So a lot of it started from home and people speaking into me, me just reading a lot about other persons who have done great things. And I think just finding that passion on the inside that really said, yes, I want to be a game changer. I want to be a superwoman of the world and make a change.
Okay, you're a youth advocate. What are some of the challenges that our young people face?
Where do I begin, Miss Boyne? Like, it's 1,000,001 when it's not tuition and accessibility or affordability with education. It's security, it's employment, it's issues with brain drain and just finding ways to move your skills into marketable sectors or can be monetized. It's mental illness and depression. It's just ongoing. But most of the issues that I have had to engage with as a student leader would stem on the lines of tuition and student welfare, security. Those would be my major issues that I would have had to champion or advocate for. But the issues that students go through and young people is really endless.
Mm-hmm. But how do we get our young people to be more interested in advocacy and volunteerism?
All right, excellent question. I think there are a couple ways. One, young people need to see the value and benefit that it has on themselves. When we're advocates and when we're defending other people, it's easy for us to say, well, by virtue of me doing this, you will receive this impact. So the person I'm defending, the person I'm helping will receive this change. But no one really goes in to talk about how will you as the advocate benefit from it. People do not want to jump into something that they can't see the value it adds to them. So we want to first paint the picture that advocacy is beneficial. As much as it is impactful to someone else, you as the person being the advocate will also receive benefits. It may not be monetary, but just to feel and be a better person, to hone and refine skills, to really put yourself out there. So that's one. Two, young people need to see other young people within these very same spaces that we're encouraging them to go into and see them doing amazing things. People are, in my opinion, motivated by seeing what is actually out there. Nobody would think that they could be the next Jeff Bezos if they didn't already see that he was going out there doing things and being a pioneer in this sector. Similarly, we need to see young people who are doing these great things. And it is also now incumbent on stakeholders and different entities to put a seat at the table for young people to be a part of in the decision making of our country and different sectors, so that we have a say, and that say is action and not just performative, but it is actually meaningful and doing something at the end of the day. And I think altogether, when you put that, young people may be a bit more motivated to give of themselves, their time and their energy. And also young people need to just, I think, intrinsically just see that they just don't like the situation that they're living in or what's happening around us. Everyone complains about crime and violence. Everyone complains about, tuition being expensive. What can you do in your small way to move from complaining to now actioning and curating a solution? You need to be uncomfortable with the discomfort that we're faced with as a generation and as a society, and action that discomfort to do something great and pioneer change. I think when we do those things, that perhaps people can be a little more motivated to be the next champion or advocate on something.
I can see the Miss Debater coming out there. Tamoy. What persons will say, though, Tamoy, boy, me have too much of my own issues right now to take on the world, I have my own problems.
That's fine. I think, just being honest with ourselves is perhaps the very first step. So yes, you have your own situations and problems, and you may not be in the best place to stand up and say, I'm going to defend this person. But the thing is that advocacy and being an advocate, it's not one dimensional. And so you don't have to be the person leading the charge to be an advocate. I think that an advocate is somebody who is just uncomfortable with the discomfort that they have been faced with or the complexities of society, and want to do something big or small in their very own way to bring about a positive goal or impact. I think that if you feel that maybe you don't in the best place that can do that right now, that's all right. But perhaps think about the solution. Think about the ideas that can make the situation better, and pass it on to the person who has the wherewithal to be the advocate and the champion. And that is one of the ways I think we're contributing to the cycle of advocacy. You don't have to be the leader of the pack to be a game changer. You don't need a position to define your advocacy. All you need is just the passion, the mettle, and the might, and just the tenacity to try to do something better because you want something better for yourselves and other people around you. So it's all right. You don't have to be the mighty, you don't have to be done, you don't have to carry the burden for your shoulder. Sometimes giving it to somebody else and telling them how you can solve it is your way of contributing to being an advocate.
Yes. You went to Wolmer's high school for girls. Where you were very involved as well. What were some of the things that you did there?
Miss Boyd, I don't want to know where to start. I always say, my mommy said that I don't go to school, I got to work. I'm a busybody. At Wolmer's, oh gosh, I was on the school challenge quiz team for around 5 years, and then I went on to become the captain of the team. I was on the debating society, and I transitioned into becoming the first vice president. I was a prefect, I was a student counselor, and through that, I was able to serve on a national body, the National Secondary Students Council, as the Region 1 Secretary and PRO. And then, things like monitress and, representing the school in this and that. If they had a competition, more often than not, I enter it, I won. All of the niceness come to Wolmer's. I was a busybody, and all while doing that, still preparing for external exams, CSEC Cape, and doing really well. So, yeah, I was a little all over the place at Wolmer's, but I loved it nonetheless.
Yes. Your high school motto, which means whatever you do it to the best of your ability. How has that motto shaped you into the person that you are today?
Wow. It is one of my mantras. I think it really encourages me to think very widely and to think and believe that there's nothing that I cannot do. Dreams are infinite, and I think the motto really tells you that because dreams are infinite, you have the wherewithal as a person to go and chase them. There's nothing too small, there's nothing too big that you cannot do. And regardless of whether you're doing something very big or something maybe that you might think very little, your 110% of you must always be in it. Because if you're not going to do it well, it don't make sense to do it at all, in my opinion. So put your 110 self in it, because that's the only way you're going to yield the impact. And I think the motto kind of shape that perception. So whether I'm going for a leadership position, I'm applying for something, it's always give 110% of Tamoy. And if I find that I can't do that, then I'm going to step back, reassess, and maybe just put it aside for something else for another time. But all in all, I just think the motto has just really given me the courage to think and believe that there's nothing I cannot do. I tell people every time, it was even my Festival Queen introduction, you're going to see me in your courthouses, on your television screens, and at the United Nations, because I am going there to represent Jamaica in various international capacities. And I know that the sky is the limit for me. And I'm going to go there and be unapologetical and just add my razzle dazzle and flair, knowing that the things I learned at Wolmer's really shaped me for those moments.
Okay. You're a law student at University of the West Indies. Was law a natural progression, I mean, from advocacy, or did you always want to be a lawyer?
Always wanted to be a lawyer. I know it was on the list of the things I wanted to be, but I would agree that that trajectory from advocacy into law, it just felt like the right thing to do. I mean, I'm in this space for so long. I'm learning so much. I found that law was a very fitting platform and space to move all of that passion and the skills I learned into this area that I think would kind of bring it out even more and give me even more room to shine. But I wouldn't say law was always what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an author at some point and a pastry chef because I like to cook. So, but law was always on the list. It wasn't maybe number one, but it was there.
Mm-hmm. And we know that the law program is very rigorous to Tamoy, but yet still you find time you serve as the president of the Mona Law Society and the UWI Guild Faculty of Law Rep 2021 to 22. You have also represented UWI at Harvard Nation Model UN competition in 2020 and 2021, where you won the Most Outstanding Delegate Award. Now, how were you able to balance schoolwork and all of these other things that you do?
Ms. Boyd, you and I are still struggling to answer that question because I really don't even know. Oh gosh, I mean, those experiences, they were phenomenal, for lack of a better word. I think the balance came out of it for me was just understanding what the end goal was. So I have a lecturer of mine, my favorite lecturer, Dr. Wade. He always says to me, Miss Campbell, you know, the woman 10 years from now is waiting on you and you have to make her proud. And so I always say the decisions that I make now will impact that Tamoy 10 years from now. So one of the things he always says to me, you know, among all the things that you're known for, people will remember you for your degree, and you want to ensure that you don't allow these external things to blindside you from what it is that you want to do. So I really had to try my best to be disciplined and remember the goal. I came to UWI for a degree. As much as the Harvard thing is amazing, I'm here for the degree. I'm here to learn the law, because my duty as an attorney is not just to, you know, go to court and try to get money and all that, but it's to really use my mind, my brain, and my ability to help educate and inform people about the law so that they can be legally aware and that people can be able to understand that they have rights and that they should be protected, etc. But all in all, the balance came from understanding that end goal. And I am very grateful that I have a mother who is just constantly behind me, always draping me up, telling me it's time to go study, put on this, you can't carry the world. I big up my mother every time, Cheryl Campbell. She's one of those persons that are just in my back. But apart from that, it would really be my own perception of balance. Because to me, Miss Moyne, balance can be like, today is just only tutorials I'm doing, only my worksheet. And maybe I'm not doing president things right now because at the end of the day, I need to do what's best for Tamoy, and maybe balance is 80% of schoolwork and 10% of extracurricular activities, because I have to understand what my end goal is. And when I do that, I find that I am productive. I'm not perfect, but I'm really trying. And I think with the help of my parents and God guiding me, I am here at the end of the day, having been able to balance it as best as I possibly can.
Okay. Tell us about this Harvard competition, because this is a big deal.
Oh my gosh, it perhaps is the highlight of my undergrad studies. I went in first year, second year was online, and I went in my final year, which was in February 2022, and it was phenomenal. I think, one, if you ever get an opportunity to travel, I think Jamaicans should take it. It is breathtaking to see what life is like beyond Jamaica, and to hear how people think and what life is like in different countries, because the competition is one of the largest collegiate competitions. So it's schools not only in the US and UK, but I had persons from China, Thailand, India, all over the world. So it's a melting pot of culture. So I got to learn a lot about different cultures and places. But it was also humbling, and one where I found that Tamoy's confidence really was on display. Miss Mon, you're walking into a room with over 100 college students who are doing the competition just as you, and who never got to Oxford, went to Yale or Georgetown and fancy academies in Europe. I'm gonna say, yeah, I got to UWI. Half of the time, nobody never know what UWI was, so I had to explain a little further. And then, oh my God, you're from Jamaica. I'm gonna say yes, and you feel you can feel a little small. Because when they talk about their experiences, and I want to go to the UN, and I was talking to somebody, and their school facilitated a program where they could go to UN this, and I'm saying like, whoa, I know I don't have that here in Jamaica. You kind of feel a little bit small. You also feel that maybe you aren't on the same level because they have all of this, or they have all these resources. But when I go into that room, I know I studied, I prepared for months. I know I'm a soft soap. I know I'm a bright girl, and I have sense. And I'm going there, and this little black girl from Jamaica getting my run for their money, because I went, I shine, and I did really well. Not just even copying from Most Outstanding Delegate, but getting the top award, which is Best Delegate. I went even further to make a pitch on a social venture challenge to get a seed funding to provide tablets for students in rural Jamaica, which was a collaborative effort among my teammates, Saeed Bernard and Celeste Nottingham and Sydney Fraser. And that's a little girl from Jamaica. I never got an Ivy League, but I do a really good job. And I think I made Jamaica proud, UWI proud, and myself proud. The experience was 10 out of 10. Culture, just learning, seeing snow for the first time, and walking around the streets of Boston was phenomenal. But I felt like Tamoy shine and I really did well in those areas, because I proved to myself, whether I go to UWI or Yale, I am still a smart individual. I have sense, I have tenacity and passion, and the judges saw it on the day, and I was able to win.
Wow, congrats.
Thank you.
But your experiences, Tamoy, are very wide. No, you are the JCDC Miss Kingston St Festival Queen 2020. Tell us about that experience.
All right, so it's for 2021, and Miss Boyne, it was a very phenomenal experience. Bittersweet. I had ups and downs, but I think it's an experience I wouldn't trade in for anything else, because it's not an average beauty pageant, because I'm very averse to pageant world. I think I always wanted to be a festival queen, and for a couple of reasons. It was a pageant that emphasized things that I liked. So people who were culturally aware, you were civic minded, you wanted to be an ambassador for your country. It valued women who had something in their brains as much as you were physically attractive and beautiful. I didn't think there were a lot of pageants who encapsulated that. And so I wanted to be a part of that cadre of women who are perfectly imperfect, as I like to put it. And I learned so much. Miss Boyne, I used to only wear Crocs and sandals. I can't go anywhere without a pair of heels, string of pearls, little light makeup. is a pageant without for me. Honestly, even to come on this today, I had to do a little touch up because a festival queen is an ambassador and she's poised and she's graceful. And I found that those soft skills, they were just embedded in me. I learned so much etiquette, mannerism, knowing how to just eat with a knife and fork, how to perhaps speak to the prime minister in comparison to the leader of opposition, to protocolists. You feel like it does, them, like, honestly, my beard scored down, I'm gonna just come out refined. I can't say it any better than that because it was a full transformation.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it, and it was so amazing just being in the space with the people, the doing activities with the children, my projects. Oh gosh, I just all over the place, and I'm just doing it for the culture because I love Jamaica. I really do, and I want to be able to even use the law as a mechanism to help people to protect the intellectual property and the cultural things about Jamaica that are just infinite and beautiful, but can easily be exploited by others. So I really enjoyed the experience, and I would recommend to anybody who's watching this in the future to please enter the competition for Kingston and St. Angela.
Right.
Yes.
You're the co-host of Talk Up Youth. How long have you been doing that program?
Okay, I think it's a little over a year. It's a little over a year. I really got into it because, well, Talk Up Youth has an active social media. They put out an application, and I followed the rules. And over time, after keep pesting, I got in, and I was able to be brought into studio and got some training as to see what it is like. And every now and again, I'm invited into the studio to co-host the program with another person, speaking about youth issues and things that are just affecting young people, and trying to just be the voice for the young people as best as possible. So it has been a little over a year, but I'm learning so much, and it's one of the things that has really shaped my ability to want to be a radio personality as I get older.
Tell me about working with Prime Minister Honorable Bruce Golding. You're the producer for his Jamaica Live program.
Yes, I am.
What is that like?
This boy, God just opening doors because so it was through Talk Up Youth. I got the opportunity to be his producer because, the person, the brain behind Talk Up Youth have to be girl up Empress Golding, daughter-in-law of former prime minister, and she had this idea and she wanted to just try and give me a chance, which is one thing I really love about Talk Up Youth, and the space is about giving young people an opportunity to shine. So I study law, no media experience, but she was willing to just let me just test it. And I have been doing it for a little over 9 months, 8 months or so now. And it's been quite an invaluable experience. I'm learning a lot because he's a much more mature personality. So I had to learn how to interact with more mature audience in comparison to people my age. I already read a lot, but he's so knowledgeable, and the topics, because it's more current affairs, social issues that he wants to discuss, I get an opportunity to be more immersed in those areas. So I feel like I'm learning and I'm more rounded young lady. And it does feel very nice to say that I work with the former PM. It feels like a little perk every now and again. So it's been an invaluable experience. I'm learning a lot, and I am just super grateful and very humbled to have gotten the opportunity, which was through Talk Up Youth.
Any plans though in the future to go into politics? You think that would be
this word, if you never ask me that, somebody did wrong. Well, I do have plans. One of my dreams is to become the Attorney General of Jamaica. I don't know if I'm still gonna feel that way in a few years, but I do want to go into politics. But let's see where the Lord takes me, because at first I was very hell-bent on it. Right now, it's just a matter of if it comes, and if I'm in the right space and frame of mind, then we'll try to see what happens there. But if that's where the Lord leads me, then let's, maybe in your MP in a few, or your Attorney General. Who knows? Next Prime Minister, I don't know. But let's see what God has in store.
Looking forward to that. You talk about the Lord a lot, Tamoy. How important is your faith?
Oh gosh, Miss Boy, Miss a church girl, and honestly, it's everything. It really is everything. You know, we live our lives to do amazing things, I think, but I don't think we understand that nothing can be done if God isn't in the midst. And if He didn't give us these talents and abilities, then I couldn't do all the things I want to do. I can speak to you on this platform, but it's because God gave me the confidence and the ability to do these things. I appreciate every single opportunity I get, and I'm just humbled by it and learn to give gratitude because my faith allows me to be grounded, to know that as much as I can be elevated, it is as easy for me to fall down. And so it's important to be respectful and humble and just show gratitude in everything and just allow God to work through me. And to understand that if He doesn't want this for me now, yeah, my frowns up a little, but understand that He has bigger in store for me. So my faith is everything for me because it is what guides me to know that whether I'm going to take this opportunity or not. And it is what keeps me grounded to do the things that I want to do, to be the best woman that I think I want to be in the future. So, you know, Jesus is everything for me, honestly.
Okay, Tamoy, before we leave, what advice do you have to leave for our young people?
Oh gosh. If I think now, Mr. Boy, you put me on a spot. I would say my advice to you would be go for it. It sounds cliche and a bit redundant, but go for it. You have abilities and talents that perhaps neither you can really fathom just how much it is or the greatness that you have in store. But you will never be able to be the best version of yourself or to activate the change that you want if you don't give yourself a fighting chance to do that. If you want to be an attorney, if you want to be the next creative content creator, whatever it is, you can simply do it, but you have to go for it. I'd also say put God in everything that you do. I know some of us aren't as spiritual, but you know, whatever supreme being you ascribe to, ensure that it's at the center of everything, and do everything with gratitude and with love in your heart. We're not on the time for the crosses and the bad mind. You must move with love and genuine intentions and be grateful for everything that you get, because you don't know that it's somebody who you help along the way who turn around and help you in the future. So no bad mind, do things with love and give yourself a fighting chance, because the world is your oyster and you can do anything and everything once you have your heart in it, and just do it with your chest unapologetically. Nobody can stop you because you're it. You're that guy, you're that girl. And that's what that would be my advice.
Thank you, Tamoy. Boy, you couldn't say it any better. What was great talking to you, man.
Oh gosh, thank you so much, Miss Boy. Thank you for inviting me. I really, I loved it. I loved everything. I think you're amazing. You just look nice on everything. So you're really amazing. And I hope people subscribe and everything, because I think you're doing exceptional work here and people should see it. So thank you for having me, and thank you for doing what you're doing.
Yes, it was a pleasure.